Now more breaking news, this time in Northern California, where an entire town has been obliterated by fire.
It was November 8th, 2018, and the campfire was ravaging the town of Paradise.
I opened the garage door, and across the street from me, there was about a huge fire going.
Paradise Mayor Steve Crowder.
I left. I didn't take anything.
Crowder had just won the town council election 2 days prior. He didn't grab anything from his home, but instead started directing traffic out of the small community that so many retirees called home. It was now on fire.
It's going to be very difficult to access. Camp Creek Road is nearly inaccessible.
We managed to get the town evacuated. We lost 85 lives. And I can't imagine the people that lost loved ones in the fire.
He had just lost the town he loved.
At that point, it was really hard to imagine what a recovery was going to look like. I mean, we lost 95% of our town.
Brush fire breaking out in the hills above Pacific Palisades.
6 years later, it would be the Palisades and Eaton fires.
As I was watching the LA fires, and I'm seeing the wind, the dry brush, no rain, can't get aircraft up. I mean, that's exactly what we went through. It's all parallel to what we had here. Rain 2 weeks after the fire. I absolutely can relate to what everybody, this one really hit close to home for me. It just brought back what happened to us on November 8th. It is still hard to think about it.
Crowder lost his home in the campfire, as well as the embroidery business he and his wife started.
This was my commercial property. I'm hoping that what I can share can give them hope and make them feel that, you know, it is not insurmountable and you'll be okay and you can do this. You know, that's a message that I need to get to them.
That was our kitchen.
He knows all too well what people here are going through.
And I'm sure they're feeling some of the typical government lag in things. Things aren't happening quick enough. We did get a lot of help from our congressmen, our assemblymen. FEMA was here, Cal OES was here, and they're here and they're there to help. They're both such big government machines that it doesn't always feel like they're necessarily there helping, but I know they are.
After all of these years, there is still a lot of emotion.
When you're talking, I still hear the emotion. It's still emotional for you.
It's tough.
But there is also growth, a rebirth of sorts. The mayor took us on a tour of the town.
So are these all new houses?
Yeah, all of these here are new. We have 3,500 contractors a day working in town. Before the fire, we did maybe 5 homes a year. Right after the fire, we were doing 500 homes.
He says a building resiliency center helped streamline the process.
We had building advocates here. We had a representative from the contractor state license board. We had somebody from the county was in here. We had PG&E, I think once a week would come in here. So you could get just about anything you needed here.
When you drive around town, do you see the loss or do you see the growth?
I see the growth because every time I drive by a lot, I go, look, there's a new house going in. That's really nice to see.
Driveways leading to nothing are sometimes the only sign that a house or business once existed here.
And are you hopeful that these people will rebuild?
Yeah, I'd like to see it get back to where it was.
The rebuilding is far from over. In fact, some people are still living in trailers.
6 years later, April 30th, our emergency ordinance will end, and there will be nobody allowed to continue to live in their trailer unless they have an active building permit.
The building standards are higher, so the old homes are being replaced with better homes, and damaged or destroyed schools are being upgraded.
Everything here is going to be new. There's positive. We're going to have underground utilities. We're going to have brand new public roads. Our schools are almost new. Our whole infrastructure will be new. So that's the positive stuff. Would I go back to the old Paradise? In a heartbeat, I would. But that's obviously not going to happen.
Now they build smarter.
What we found is with the open green space like this, things that had that seem to do a great job of surviving.
And what about insurance? Can most people insure their homes?
No, not in a traditional way. Most of them here now are going to the FAIR plan.
But they are trying to get insurance companies to come back.
That's what's going to keep our fire insurance coming back. You've got to have a 100-foot clearance, nothing over 4 inches.
They also want the people to come back to Paradise.
We lost 13,000 plus homes, and right now we are 3,200 rebuilt.
And he hopes fire victims here in SoCal will follow suit.
Well, the first thing I'm going to tell them is don't ever let anybody tell you you can't rebuild, because you absolutely can. I don't care who it is that's telling you that. You absolutely can, and you will. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be quick, but it can be done. And you know, we're living in probably the country's largest construction zone right now. And sometimes, you know, that's can grate on you when you're stopped every 100 feet while this road's closed, that road's closed, you know, the pounding of nails and all this. But if you look at it, that's the sound of progress. It's kind of a nice sound to hear.
The town of Paradise, construction crews are busy rebuilding what the campfire stole from this tight-knit community. It was November 8th, 2018. The fire destroyed 95% of the town, nearly 14,000 homes.
Everything burned. It was a perfect storm this time. 70-mile-an-hour winds. They just couldn't stop it. It was just roared through here. It was really scary.
Jerry Bates narrowly escaped the fire.
And then going down Skyway, we went flames on both sides going through that we drove through.
But her home couldn't escape it.
When did you find out your house didn't survive?
A few days later, we really couldn't tell. We saw it on TV.
Bates' home was one of the nearly 14,000 destroyed in the fire, but there were more than 2,000 that survived.
We saw the house, and that's how we knew.
No, I heard your voice quiver when you said...
Still emotional. I came around that corner the first day and saw this house, and I thought, what it looked like. How? How did we survive?
Bill and Sharon Simonton moved to Paradise 22 years ago, buying their dream retirement home.
I can't tell you why we survived it. We don't know. We don't know. I think the grace of God, and somebody put a little glove over the top. I'm not sure. It was the oddest thing. People still shake their head.
What burned around you?
All the fences.
All the fences. One house was remaining on the corner up on the top row. Everything else inside and out, further east, further north, all of it burned.
The fire was put out, but their guilt raged on.
Yeah, we were blessed.
We were.
But when you came back and everything around you was destroyed, how did you feel?
Guilty, terrible feeling. You look around, all your friends, all the people gone.
Yeah, it was, we carried a lot of guilt for a while. Yep. We really did.
They've been living through a construction zone for years.
The debris didn't bother me as much as losing the community, because people were scattering. They didn't know what to do. And you know, at that time when you saw people who lost everything and they're going through their things, there was this look in there, this blank look. And you'll see it down south.
They were out of their house for 6 months. For Bates, it's been much longer.
It's been 6 years. You're still living in a trailer.
Yes.
What happened?
The first year we tried to get a modular, and that was a long process. Everybody was buying modulars. After a year, they said it'd be another 14 months, and I said, oh no, we can't do this. And we met this guy that builds aerated autoclave concrete homes, and that's what I wanted. I wanted something fire resistant. He said, okay, I can do it for you. He gave me a bid, and we said, oh good, that's within our budget, we'll go for it. So we canceled the modular and had him start working, but he worked. His contract was 9 months, and after about, a year and a half, he wasn't even a third done and taken most of our money.
She lost money, but learned a valuable lesson she's now sharing with SoCal.
Don't ever give your contractor money up front. California law says 10% or $1,000 down. And if the contractor can't carry the money, he shouldn't be working.
But you seem like a smart lady. How did you get swindled?
Well, partly because he would say, oh, I need the money, so we would pay him draws. We paid one draw up front for the trusses, and that was, you know, a large amount of money, and he never paid for the trusses. And so the trust company said, we need to get our money. They started coming after us, wanting, you know, to put a lien on our house. So we paid them. And then they did bring the trusses once they arrived. That we paid, you know, we didn't pay them until they got here.
The contractor eventually stopped showing up, and Bates wasn't the only one to be swindled.
This guy did this to three people here in town.
Bates would become her own contractor and continue to build what she calls a fire-resistant home.
What have you done to try to build a fire-safe house now?
We have aerated autoclave concrete blocks, which is the house is made out of. That was what the contractor did. And then we brought in metal trusses and metal roof. All of that has caused us to buy specialty products. The siding had to be specialty products, inside and out. So we had to find someone that had that because he was the one that doing that, and I didn't know where to get it. So we had to do a lot of research to find the right product.
So what is this?
Aerated autoclave concrete, non-combustible.
So it's supposed to withstand twice the heat.
Twice the heat that went through here. You can kind of see how they're 8 inches wide.
The blocks are still visible in the garage before they'll be covered with a special stucco. 6 years after the fire, they are still rebuilding.
And now that you can see it's almost done, has it been worth it?
Yes. I can't wait. Yes, it's been very worth it for me. I don't know about my husband, but
The challenges weren't just for those who lost their homes.
It was tough. It was tough. And then we saw the debris, but it's a different complication living with a rebuild than rebuilding, because we've had 6 years of construction trucks and roads upset and people coming in and out, and that whole area over there, right there, gone. That was gone. All those houses have been rebuilt.
For the survivors in SoCal, they say you have to be patient.
As they come in and they say, we're going to fix this, we're going to take your debris, we're going to do the toxic waste. It takes a long time. You have to have patience.
They're glad they stayed and suggest LA fire victims do the same.
Don't leave because you feel guilty. And don't leave because the debris is across the street. It'll be gone.
Yeah.
There's hope. There is light. I mean, look what Paradise has done. Look at what this little town has done.
We have baskets right over there as well.
Okay, thank you.
Business is sweet as ever at Joy Lynn's Candies in Paradise.
These are our chocolate turtles.
The candy store was one of hundreds of businesses destroyed when the campfire nearly wiped out the entire town on November 8th, 2018.
This hut went through the fire and survived.
Bill and Pam Hartley remember that day like it was yesterday.
And on the way to the shop, I could see the plume of smoke. In the distance, I thought, well, that's too far away to affect us, but I'll keep an eye on that.
Within an hour, the fire was there.
That fire was moving so fast, just so fast.
Football field a second.
Pam was home packing up items.
I could hear explosions, but I didn't really know what it was then. It was cars exploding, propane tanks exploding.
The fire would destroy their home, their son's home, and their beloved business.
Tell me, why was it so important to open up this business again?
It would help bring a spirit back to the town, to bring a loved business back. We just couldn't let that fall apart. And we had such a love and pride in our business that we knew that we had to start over.
The store opened in 1969. The Hartleys are the fourth owners buying the business in 2000.
We bought this existing building that had survived the fire 3 months after we had lost everything. So we jumped on things right away, found a rental house in Chico to live in 3 days after the fire.
They admit it wasn't easy, and the process wasn't fast.
And it took a year to clean up the town, the debris, get the water safe again. Get the electric wires reestablished. We knew that it would take a long time for us to rebuild, and that it would be a better move for us to find something that was existing. And we took an opportunity that this building was still here and it was in a better location than the location we were in before, and that has helped bring us back immensely.
They have advice for the victims of the Palisades and Eaton fires.
Get your mind off your loss. Go forward.
You know, you do have to go there, obviously, every so often and sort of mourn your losses, but don't stay in that space. Go there for a little while, mourn it, and then pop out and do something positive.
When we visited the sweet shop, it was all hands on deck.
Make it look nice.
All 3 generations getting ready for the Valentine's Day crowds.
This is the turtle caramel.
Son Glenn works at the shop, and so does his daughter Haley.
The white chocolate just got ready.
They say the loss is like losing a loved one. It never really goes away.
We found positive things to do. I started writing poetry. I'd never written poetry, but I found that to be a very healing source of
Yeah, and I started painting.
We got Bill to read us one of the poems he wrote about the campfire.
It takes time to rebuild, but forward we move. Bit by bit, we watch our community improve. Roads are receiving new asphalt top, power lines removed, poles chopped.
They always knew they would reopen the popular store, but for Nikki Jones, it was opening a new business after the fire.
The very first thing that I thought was, how can I fix it?
Jones lost 2 homes, 2 businesses, and a commercial building in the campfire. But from the ashes, a new spark.
I called my realtor and said, is there anything for rent in Paradise? We didn't even really know. She said, no, but there's this building for sale. I said, I'll take it. I did.
And that's this building?
That's this building.
She bought the building 30 days after the fire, and at 74 years young, Jones was jumping into the restaurant business for the first time, opening Nick's Deli and Wine Bar.
I just wanted a place where people could come and feel, just laugh and have a beer with their friends and talk and whatever they need to do. So nice to meet you.
The place has been a success, but now at 80, Jones is selling. But she says she got exactly what she needed out of Nick's.
Doing what I did helped me heal. That's probably the best way to help me heal, is by doing to help somebody else. And maybe, leading by example.
What would be the best advice you would give to people down in Southern California that are trying to rebuild LA? What would you tell them?
Well, the first thing I would say is be patient with yourself, be patient with the process. It's not going to happen overnight, but it will happen. Some days are good, some days are bad. That's the reality of any trauma or any bad experience somebody's been through. But ultimately, again, it's the people around you that help you, that you lean on each other. That's what really helps.
She knows all too well what LA fire victims are going through.
It's a shock, and then you got all these pieces. How do I pick up the pieces? Where do I go? What do I do? There are a lot of good resources out there. There are wonderful, good people. There are bad people. That's life. But give yourself time to let the reality sink in and say, okay, what do I want to do? Do I want to stay here? Do I want to rebuild? Paying attention to what you really want to do as an individual, I believe, is important for everyone.
When you see this, you're in here, and you see the counters all empty. Is it tough to see this?
Yeah, it is.
For Scott Lauder, he chose not to come back.
A 7-screen movie theater we opened in 1999.
It didn't burn down, but had smoke damage.
We did chemical samples, and it showed that there was, lead and asbestos and auto part dust and all kinds of things. Once the fire started, and then we had smoke for ages, and then it was bathed in that smoke, and it just sat there.
He admits it wasn't an easy decision to let the theater go.
I think you try to find little victories, little things that give you joy.
Lauder, a former city manager, started helping fire victims.
I got involved in the Butte Strong Fund, which was charitable money. We raised about $72 million after the fire through the North Valley Community Foundation.
He also helped rescue koi from ponds on properties abandoned by the fire. He says that brought him more joy than he ever imagined. He has since rebuilt his home in nearby Chico and is still running another theater, but Paradise is now part of his past.
We don't have a business, so that hurts, So that made it difficult for me to be able to come back here. you know, it would never be the same.
Which brings us back to Bill's poem.
When you lose all, starting anew is tough, but progress we see sure enough. All things change, things can't be the same. Our past not forgotten, but choked by flame. It's very difficult to recover, but you do slowly, slowly. Time heals all wounds.
Amy Johnson, KCAL News.